Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're not just exploring a topic, we are launching into, well, a full-scale expedition.
Right into a realm where science, mysticism, and geopolitical intrigue really collide.
Exactly. They don't just blur, they seem to completely dissolve. We're talking about time itself, what it is, how it might work, and crucially, whether it can actually be manipulated.
It's a huge question.
It really is. Our mission for this deep dive, to meticulously unpack the life, the truly radical theories, and the frankly astonishing, sometimes terrifying experiments surrounding a visionary Russian scientist.
Nikolai Kozyrev and his mysterious mirrors.
That's the one. We've spent a lot of time going through official documents, research papers, even some compelling first-hand accounts.
Believe us, these sources, they will make you question things, the very nature of reality, maybe.
Okay, picture this with me. It's the early 1990s. The Cold War has just thawed, but, a different kind of silent conflict is brewing.
Psychic espionage, that kind of thing.
Precisely. And deep in this remote Siberian laboratory, almost unreachable, practically the northernmost edge of civilization,
Way out there.
two, let's say, audacious scientists, Dr. Vail Kazanachev and Dr. Alexander Trefimov, both from the prestigious Russian Academy of Sciences, they start an experiment.
And their official goal was already pretty extraordinary.
Right, to sense phenomena far beyond our normal human perception. But what happened next was, well, completely off the rails.
Things got weird fast.
The very air around the facility seemed to crackle. Energy balls. Their words started appearing in the sky.
Over Siberia, yeah. And the northern lights, which are already amazing up there.
They became tens of times brighter than normal, just unbelievably intense.
And then there was the feeling.
Ah, yes. This profound, chilling sense of dread that just washed over anyone who got near their machines.
Not just nerves, something
Soulfully. And these weren't just weird weather patterns. These unexplainable events, these anomalies, they seemed to echo, almost confirm, the wild theories of Nikolai Kozyrev,
the man we mentioned earlier. The one often ridiculed by the mainstream.
whose theories suggested time might not be the straight line we think it is, but something, more dynamic. Something you could bend, observe, maybe even travel through.
Which is the really radical part.
So what could this possibly mean for us? What if time isn't just marching forward? What if it's more tangible, an energy, a force, maybe like a river we could learn to navigate?
That's the core question, isn't it?
It is, and that's what we're diving into. We'll trace Kozyrev's incredible life, his controversial theories, and these shocking experiments that followed, all based on the documents we have.
What does it all reveal about reality, about consciousness, our place in this, frankly, much stranger universe than we usually admit?
Let's get into it. Our journey starts with this name, maybe new to some of you, but absolutely crucial. Nikolai Alexandrov Kozyrev.
A brilliant mind, definitely ahead of his time.
Way ahead, and tragically, largely ignored, even scorned by mainstream science. Still is, to a large extent.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
He was born in the turbulent 1930s Soviet Union, found his calling early on at the Pulkovo Astronomical Observatory, a prestigious place.
And his potential was obvious, even then.
His teachers saw it immediately. They called him a light, a genius who could guide the Soviets scientifically. But fate.
Fate had other plans, as they say. And in this case, truly tragic ones.
This is where it gets incredibly dark. Joseph Stalin, paranoid, ruthless. He saw independent science, the kind Kozyrev represented, as a threat.
A threat to his control.
Absolutely. And he gave an order, almost unthinkable now, execute all the scientists at Pulkovo.
All of them. It's horrifying.
It is. And somehow, against all odds, Kozyrev survived. He wasn't executed. But don't mistake that for luck.
No, his survival was its own kind of tragedy.
Instead of a quick end, he got 20 years, sentenced to solitary confinement in the Gulag, the infamous prison camps.
For anti-communist ideas, which could mean almost anything then.
Anything that didn't toe the party line. Can you imagine one of the brightest minds locked away, cut off from the world, from light, from everything he studied?
You'd think it would break anyone, crush their spirit, their mind.
Logically, yes. But for Kozyrev, something else happened.
It's really an incredible story of resilience. In that utter darkness, that isolation, he didn't just survive. He transformed.
How so?
He dedicated himself even more fiercely to science, right there in his cell. He didn't just remember his knowledge. He actively worked with it.
Replaying calculations, theories.
Thousands of times over, he said. Developing his own physics, completely independent of what was happening outside. free from the rigid dogmas of mainstream science at the time.
So the isolation almost became a benefit in a twisted way.
In a deeply twisted way, yes. It forced a unique perspective. It was a crucible that forged something entirely new, untainted by contemporary scientific fashion.
Meanwhile, his friends outside, they didn't forget him.
No, incredibly brave of them. They lobbied constantly, risking a lot themselves, pushing the regime for his release.
And after a decade, they succeeded. 10 years, he was finally let out.
Imagine the relief. The Soviet scientific community was apparently overjoyed. Their genius was back.
But he wasn't the same man. 10 years in the Gulag. It changes you profoundly.
Irrevocably. The young man went in, but a different man came out.
And he came out with ideas that would, well, shock the scientific world, just as the documents say. It set the stage for everything that followed.
These weren't just minor tweaks to existing theories. Kozyrev came back challenging the very foundations, especially around gravity and space-time.
Right. The mainstream view, heavily influenced by Einstein and Minkowski, was that gravity is basically a distortion of space-time. Mass bends space-time, things follow the curves.
It's a geometric interpretation. Gravity isn't really a force in that model, more an effect of the shape of the universe.
But Kozyrev disagreed.
Radically. He argued gravity wasn't just geometry. He believed it was deeply connected to something else, something he called time energy.
Time energy, what does that even mean?
And also torsion fields. These were his key concepts. He thought these fields, these twists in space, were fundamental and tied to time itself.
Okay, torsion fields, like twists.
Exactly. And here's the really audacious claim he made, straight from the sources. By using a special kind of mirror, all the forces in nature can be bent, including time. Time travel is possible with this mirror.
Wow, okay. That is a leap. How could time, which feels so constant, so linear, be bent like light?
His explanation was pretty elegant, actually. He drew a parallel between time and light. Both, he said, are fundamentally energy phenomena.
Okay.
Think about light. Much of the spectrum is invisible to us naturally, right?
Yeah.
Infrared, UV. But technology cameras' sensors lets us see it, interact with it.
So he thought time was similar, an energy we just hadn't learned to detect or use yet.
Precisely. He believed technology could make the energy of time visible, or at least detectable, maybe even manipulable.
And their normal view of time is so ingrained, though. Past is gone, future isn't here, only now exists. That straight line.
But Kozyrev just threw that out. He argued time is one big piece, a unified whole. Past, present, future. They aren't sequential in the way we experience them.
He said, they all exist at the same moment, right now.
Exactly. Which sounds completely counterintuitive based on our daily lives.
He used an analogy, didn't he? The river.
Yes, the river of time analogy. It's quite helpful. Imagine you're in a boat on a river. From your perspective in the boat, you're moving, flowing along.
Makes sense. That's how we experience time's passage.
But Kozyrev asks, what if the river itself isn't flowing? What if the entire river from its source to the sea exists simultaneously as one stationary thing?
It's just my boat, my consciousness that's moving on the stationary river.
That's the idea. And what's crucial here, if you follow this analogy,
Okay.
Kozyrev suggests that if we could apply some kind of force to our boat, maybe we could slow down relative to the riverbank, speed up, or even potentially move against the current.
Meaning, manipulate our position within this already existing block of time.
That's the implication. Time becomes malleable, not just an inevitable flow.
Right.
It connects to ideas in physics like the block universe theory, where all time exists at once.
But he wasn't just philosophizing. He thought this was tied to actual physical forces.
Yes, back to those torsion fields. He believed that large masses, like planets and stars, don't just warp space-time geometrically, as Einstein said. They do it by interacting with this underlying time energy via torsion fields.
And these fields exist in empty space.
But Kozyrev argued space isn't empty. He brought back the old concept of the ether, not the debunked luminiferous ether of the 19th century, but something different.
What was his idea of ether?
He saw it as a dynamic, energetic medium filling all of space. A force we can't see, but it's the medium everything exists in.
Like fish need water, birds need air.
Exactly his analogy. Objects in the universe need a medium to move through and interact with the ether. And this ether is where his torsion fields operate.
But mainstream science had already dismissed ether, right? Found it absurd.
They did. The Michelson-Morley experiment famously failed to detect the old version of the ether, so the conclusion was something science cannot detect is null and void for them.
Which seems incredibly short-sighted now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Isn't it tragically stupid, or at least ironic, for mainstream science to label him crazy back then, when today we openly talk about dark matter and dark energy?
Forces we know exist because of their effects, but can't directly see or detect.
Exactly. Kozyrev's only crime, you could argue, was being decades ahead of his time and using an old, loaded term like ether. Maybe quantum foam or zero-point field would sound more acceptable today. But the core idea of an energetic vacuum isn't so outlandish anymore.
So if everything creates these twists or torsion fields in this ether, how does that relate back to seeing the past or future?
He used another analogy, a whale swimming. Its powerful movements create twists, vortices in the water. Similarly, planets, stars, galaxies spinning and moving through the ether create these vast torsion structures. And Kozyrev believed if you could somehow align with or manipulate these twists correctly, you could tap into the time energy embedded within them.
Which could allow you to see, or maybe even move, to different points in this river of time.
That was the theory. And that's precisely what his Kozyrev mirror was designed to do.
The physical device, how did he think it worked?
Just like a regular mirror directs light, reflects or refracts it, Kozyrev designed his mirror to bend or refract this time energy, to focus the torsion fields.
But the scientific community, they weren't buying it.
Not at all. Widespread ridicule. They laughed at Ev's claims, apparently. Didn't even think the design was worthy of testing.
It's the classic story, isn't it? Da Vinci's flying machines, Madame Curie's radioactivity. Newton even faced ridicule for some ideas.
History is full of it. Resistance to paradigm shifts is almost a constant in science. Revolutionary ideas are often met with skepticism, sometimes outright hostility.
So Kozyrev had to fund this himself, build it himself.
Yes, he experimented with materials, found aluminum worked best, specifically a thin concave mirror.
Concave, like a satellite dish, to focus energy.
Exactly. It's a well-known principle for focusing waves, whether light or radio waves. He adapted that to focus what he believed was time energy.
And the shape, it wasn't just a simple curve.
No, the design was based on Fibonacci spirals, the spirals you see everywhere in nature, shells, galaxies.
Right, the golden ratio connection.
He built a vertical aluminum concave mirror spiral. The idea was that time energy would be drawn into the spiral's center, creating a vortex.
And someone inside that vortex could see various moments of time simultaneously.
That was the hypothesis. He had the theory, the design, everything was ready for what he hoped would be a monumental discovery.
But then, tragedy struck again.
Yes. February 1983, Kozyrev suddenly falls ill, passes away within days. Official cause of death, unknown.
Which sounds incredibly suspicious, given the nature of his work.
Deeply suspicious. But his death wasn't the end of the story for his ideas. Quite the opposite.
Because even if mainstream science ignored him, others didn't.
Two very powerful, very interested parties. The KGB and the CIA.
The Cold War context again. Psychic espionage.
Exactly. This was a serious, if secret, front. Both sides were pouring millions into programs like Stargate, training remote viewers, trying to get any edge.
And the Soviets were reportedly having more success.
Leaked CIA documents suggest that, yes, their psychic agents were apparently achieving much more successful results. So in that climate, Kozyrev's theories about accessing information through time and space suddenly looked very appealing.
Which brings us back to those scientists we mentioned at the start, Dr. Ifov and Dr. Kaznesev.
Yes. With KGB backing, they got hold of Kozyrev's notes, his designs after his death.
Right.
And they restarted the experiment.
This is the Dixon Town experiments phase.
Right. Infamous now. Because some of the things they encountered were genuinely disturbing.
Why Dixon Town? We know it's remote northernmost part of Asia. Good for secrecy.
That was reason one. Keep prying eyes away. But Dr. Trofimov mentioned a second, much stranger reason.
Which?
He claimed the permafrost, the frozen soil layer of the region, contains valuable time energy that has been hidden for thousands of years.
Whoa, like time trapped in ice.
That was the idea. He compared it to how fired clay holds a magnetic record. He thought freezing water trapped temporal energy, and when the permafrost thaws.
That energy is released, making it easier to detect or manipulate.
Exactly. So Dixon wasn't just isolated. It was, in their view, metaphysically charged, a prime location for these experiments.
They were really diving into the deep end here.
Completely uncharted territory. As they admitted later, no one had the slightest idea what would happen. And chillingly, if they had known, they would never have done this.
That sets a pretty ominous tone, and things went wrong quickly.
Almost immediately, the official reports call the first day the Day of Terror.
The Day of Terror, what
The
happened?
doctors walked into the research room and instantly felt this overwhelming emotional tension, just thick in the air. They had a picture, just a simple image with 3 dots in a circle. We'll come back to that symbol.
Yeah.
And they tried to place it inside the mirrors.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get close.
Uh,
An indescribable fear washed over them. Not just feeling scared, but like the fear was a being standing in front of us.
yeah.
Palpable. External.
They never felt anything like it.
Nothing remotely close.
Yeah.
One colleague tried to approach holding a peace symbol again significant later and started shaking uncontrollably.
Physically affected.
Oh yeah. Chests tightened, like jumping into ice-cold water. Intense dread. They had to run out.
Just overwhelmed by this presence.
Seemed like it. Another scientist went back in, collapsed, felt like they'd been hit, attributed the psychological pressure directly to the mirrors.
The closer they got, the worse it was.
Exactly. Feeling unstable and drunk,
Yeah.
hands shaking, heads spinning. Even after calming down, their hands trembled trying to place that symbol.
And they saw things too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Black clouds seemed to cover the mirrors. A strange substance filled the room. Then, this flash of purple light, like the roots of a tree.
From the mirrors.
Apparently. They fled again, feeling like a black cloud was chasing them. No sleep that night, intense headaches, just pure terror. It's a visceral reaction to the unknown, isn't it? These are scientists, trained observers, reduced to primal fear.
Suggests the mirror was doing more than just bending energy, maybe opening something? Or interacting with their minds in a profound way?
Or both. And it wasn't just subjective. There was external corroboration.
Right. Security.
Stationed outside, reported seeing light moving in the air, strange balls over the facility, a plasma explosion glow around the site.
And this happened more than once.
The flying object incident repeated itself 2 more times over the next couple of months, so objective phenomena were occurring.
They paused things after that, let people recover.
Wisely, yes. Then, December 25th, they started phase 2. This time, subjects actually went inside the chamber at the center of the mirrors.
Sat down, rotated the chamber 1.5 times clockwise for mental exercises.
And that's when the really interesting events, as Dr. Train called them, began. The visions.
Starting with symbols.
Yes. All the subjects, Train wrote, said that interesting symbols appeared before their eyes. They glowed like neon lights. Very distinct.
Glowing symbols appearing in their minds.
Seemingly, yes. They documented these meticulously for months into 1991. Compiled a big report later.
And the crucial thing was, the subjects weren't allowed to talk to each other about what they saw.
Strictly forbidden. Yet, different people, time after time, reported seeing the same symbols.
Let's look at a couple. The all-seeing eye that's instantly recognizable.
Very powerful symbol, used by ancient Egyptian secret societies, often linked to the third eye, spiritual insight. Many subjects reported seeing it.
And the other one, 3 dots within a circle.
That's the so-called peace symbol used by Nicholas Royer, the mystic explorer. And remember, this was the symbol they tried to use to calm the fear on the Day of Terror.
But it made things worse, caused dark clouds.
Exactly. Which is fascinating because Royer initially linked it to the Christian Trinity, but later found it in ancient Asian cultures, thousands of years before Christianity.
Suggesting it has a much deeper, older meaning. Maybe some kind of key the mirror recognized?
It certainly seems possible, like it resonated with the energy, but not necessarily in a peaceful way in that context.
And the symbol story gets even weirder later on, doesn't it?
Much weirder. Fast forward to 1997. They've collected maybe 1,200 symbols over 7 years. They give them to the Russian Academy of Linguistics for analysis.
Okay, what did the linguists find?
Something absolutely stunning. The overwhelming majority, the report says 180%, which probably means nearly double what you'd expect by chance were symbols used by ancient civilizations.
Ancient civilizations, like which one?
One stood out dramatically. The Sumerians.
The Sumerians, credited with inventing writing.
The very same. Dr. Trapanimov wrote, dozens of symbols found on clay tablets were exactly the same as what our subjects saw. His conclusion.
What did he think was happening?
He believed they had entered a large metaphysical information network, and the part they accessed was directly linked to Sumerian civilization.
Okay, let's pause there. A metaphysical information network. Accessing Sumerian symbols. What does that even imply?
It's huge, isn't it? If we connect this to the bigger picture, it directly echoes theories about ancient astronauts or interventions. The Sumerians themselves claimed their gods, the Anunnaki, gave them knowledge, writing.
So the mirrors were somehow letting people tap into that ancient data stream, see the original symbol.
That's what Dr. Imhoff believed. It suggests these visions weren't just random hallucinations. They were potentially accessing a real, shared ancient information source. A cosmic library, maybe?
Which raises the question, who built the library? And what else is in it?
Exactly. And it didn't stop at symbols. People started seeing actual beings, other realities, even historical events.
Right. Back in Dixontown, 1991, phase 2, after the initial side effects wore off.
Dizziness, fear, migraines.
Yeah. People started staying in longer. And the descriptions became incredible.
Like seeing a human figure completely white.
Or feeling dead, then seeing a flying object up above, then darkness, then light again. Being transported to an unfamiliar room, warned by a faceless person. Your planet is in great danger. A disaster could happen soon.
Chilling. No answer when asked when. The figure just vanished.
Or seeing oneself as a child, trying to touch that younger self, feeling an icy sensation.
Sensory stuff too. Waves hitting the head, feet going numb, then seeing a tall man in a white suit.
Followed by images flashing before their eyes.
Another saw a flying object, black structure, white glass, rising and disappearing.
And the historical visions.
Some felt they were watching battles from the eyes of ancient Roman generals, or seeing Pompeii erupting through the eyes of the people present, like stepping into history. These accounts are so detailed, and the statistics are striking too.
75.4% saw UFOs. 68% saw an observer entity. That's high consistency.
Very high. And this observer, the descriptions are consistent too. Feeling of superior power, like he could read thoughts, even control them.
That goes way beyond just seeing symbols. It sounds like interaction.
It does. And the link between longer stays in the mirror and seeing older historical periods like Roman times, often through specific people's eyes.
Suggests a deeper immersion, accessing more specific data points in that metaphysical network.
Possibly. Like tuning into a specific channel in the river of time. Temporal remote viewing, maybe even experiencing fragments of collective memory.
But the KGB had more practical goals too, right? Not just exploring consciousness.
Oh, absolutely. Their main strategic goal was clear. Could this device be used for long-distance communication? Espionage, basically.
So they set up another mirror.
An identical one. In Novos BX, about 2,000 kilometers away from Dixon. Secretly, of course.
And the experiment was send thoughts?
Pretty much. Subjects in Dixon visualized specific symbols, try to transmit them mentally to the receiver team in Novos BX.
And the results?
Initially, pretty poor, only about a 10% success rate, barely above chance, maybe.
Okay, so not great for spying. But then something changed.
Massively.
Yeah.
They noticed that when there was significant electromagnetic activity in the atmosphere, solar storms, that kind of thing, the success rate shot up.
To what?
Suddenly up to 90%, a huge jump.
Wow. So solar storms boosted psychic signals.
It seemed that way. As if our consciousness, our ability to transmit and receive thoughts, is somehow linked to Earth's magnetic field and amplified by solar energy.
Which ties directly back to Kozyrev's original theories, doesn't it?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
He claimed solar activity creates these large torsion fields that affect both humans and Earth's cycles. This wasn't just a fluke. It looked like direct experimental proof.
Proof that consciousness is connected to cosmic energy flows via these fields.
That's what the results strongly suggested. The solar storms were acting like an amplifier for information transfer through Kozyrev's proposed medium, the ether or torsion fields.
So they scaled it up, trod something even bigger.
They did. Now, incredibly confident. The main center in Dixon projected symbols, but this time imagining the Earth itself was the sender, broadcasting into the global magnetosphere.
And they got people worldwide to try and receive.
5,000 people, 12 countries, just asked them to feel this symbol during the projection times.
And the results?
Even more astounding, up to 95% success rates during peaks in magnetosphere activity.
95%. That suggests a global consciousness field we can tap into.
It certainly points that way, especially potent during these geomagnetic peaks. It's a stunning result.
And the CIA noticed something specific about who was good at this.
Their monitoring reports noted that young girls from families with shamanic beliefs seemed particularly sensitive, particularly receptive to these signals.
Suggesting a genetic link or cultural attunement.
Maybe both. They even provided examples. The Center Project symbol #63. Kids elsewhere are asked to draw what they sense. They draw #63. Say with #32. Clear remote perception on a global scale.
But the effects weren't just mental or psychic. Things happened around Dixontown, too.
Extremely unusual physical events in the region. Dixon is near the North Pole, so northern lights are common.
Right. But this was different.
December 27th. Just after midnight, 121 minutes passed specifically.
Yeah.
Thousands in the town see thousands of arrow-like formations of various colors coming down from the sky.
Not randomly spread out.
No, concentrating right over the experimental facility like they were targeted.
And what happened at the facility at that moment?
All the electronics went haywire. Computers crashed, comms failed. But strangely, the Cozy Rev mirror experiment itself continued running just fine.
Weird. And afterward,
They found all the metal objects in the building were magnetized, like a huge EMP had hit, but localized.
did they check with the local geophysical observatory?
They did. The observatory confirmed a massive spike in electromagnetism. Nantesla levels jumped from a normal 60,000 units to nearly 1,990,000 units.
That's insane. Like a major solar storm level?
Equivalent to one, yes, but there wasn't a major solar storm confirmed at that time. And they couldn't explain why these aurora-like lines were coming down so low, focusing on the building.
So the experiments were generating immense localized energy fields, affecting the atmosphere itself.
It certainly looks that way, generating phenomena far beyond just psychic effects.
And then there was the local artist, V. Kolev, drawing inside the mirror area.
Right. He produced these three seemingly simple scribbles.
1. 3 pyramids beaming light. 2. A round flying object coming down from space. 3. 2 black flying objects over Earth.
Could be just imagination, right? An artist's doodles.
Except, what happened next?
This is the really chilling part. A few days after these drawings, these UFOs drawn by the artist started to be seen by everyone over the facility and the town.
Seen by everyone, not just the artist.
Widely witnessed. External objective sightings of the things he had drawn days earlier after being in the mirror.
What did people report seeing?
Very specific things. Bright yellow object that resembled a triangle. Slowly changed its shape to an oval. Light changing.
Another saw a yellow semicircle, pulsing, changing to a triangle.
Its brightness was increasing and decreasing like a pulse. Very dynamic.
And one coming from the north, getting bigger, turning northwest.
Leaving a trail of light. Watch for 4 minutes.
Another bright ball, leaving a trail, stopping, looking around, then vanishing in smoke.
These aren't vague lights. They're detailed accounts of structured craft exhibiting intelligent-seeming behavior, matching the artist's precognitive drawings.
It blurs the line between psychic vision and physical reality, doesn't it? Did the mirror predict the sightings, or somehow cause them, or track them?
That's the million-dollar question. It suggests an interaction with reality or maybe other intelligences far deeper than we understand. Manifesting visions, maybe? It's profound.
So, the experiments eventually ended, but the effects on the participants lingered.
For some, yes. Many reported this uncontrollably increased extrasensory perception, telepathy popping up spontaneously.
And some physical effects, too. Chronic illnesses disappearing.
Astonishingly, yes. As if the exposure recalibrated their bodies somehow. But it wasn't all positive.
No, there was that disturbing case.
The subject who developed a constant feeling of flying wanted to jump off a balcony, truly believing they'd just float.
That's terrifying. Tampering with fundamental reality perception is dangerous.
Extremely. Thankfully, those intense effects reportedly faded over months, but the experience left a permanent mark, you have to assume.
And on the scientists, too. Dr. Kazan-Cher, he couldn't continue.
He developed severe anxiety problems stemming from fear and insomnia. Understandable, given what they'd witnessed and experienced.
He left physics entirely.
Became a consultant to the UN on international law, and his mission became trying to prevent countries from doing psychic experiments or developing psychic weapons.
Based on his own terrifying experiences, he issued a warning, didn't he?
A very stark one. We still haven't fully understood the secrets of mirrors. Working with them carries great risks. He said they don't just open doors to the unknown.
They can also be a door opening into other people's minds, and this poses a great danger.
A profound ethical and safety concern. But his final conclusion was even heavier.
What did he say about our place in the universe?
The experiments have shown us that we are not only not alone in the physical universe, but also that there are others in the metaphysical universe.
Others. Beings. Intelligences.
He implies that strongly and warns, if we continue these experiments with our current shallow metaphysical view, we are exposing both ourselves and our planet to these beings.
And unfortunately, we have no knowledge of whether they are good or bad. That's a chilling thought. Opening doors without knowing who or what is on the other side.
It's an existential warning. He's saying these aren't just tools, they're potentially portals. and maybe humanity isn't ready, isn't wise enough to handle what might come through.
But Dr. Trofimov, his colleague, he kept going.
He did. Continued researching, publishing, speaking, and significantly started applying Kozyrev's torsion theories to predict earthquakes.
With any success.
Remarkable success, apparently. Standard geophysics gets maybe 10–20% accuracy on seismic predictions. Trofimov's group, using Kozyrev's theories, is reportedly achieving up to 60%.
50%? That's huge. That adds real weight to Kozyrev's ideas having practical value.
Absolutely. And it underlines the credibility. This wasn't just some fringe group. These were state-backed Soviet-Russian experiments. Lying had consequences.
And the CIA was watching closely, doing their own mirror experiments.
They were. We have some documents thanks to Freedom of Information requests, but anything related to their own Kozyrev mirror work remains classified, which tells you something.
Silence speaks volumes sometimes. Governments don't classify things they think are nonsense.
Precisely. The continued classification suggests they found something significant, perhaps something concerning or strategically valuable.
And for anyone still thinking this is all pseudoscience, impossible according to known physics.
Yeah.
There's been a recent development.
A very significant one. March 15, 2023. Scientists at NYU managed to do something called projecting temporal data.
Temporal data projection. What does that mean?
It essentially proved, experimentally, that time isn't just a concept or a dimension we move through. It acts like an energy that can carry information.
Which is exactly what Kozyrev claimed decades ago.
Exactly. 40 years after his death, mainstream science, or at least a part of it, catches up and validates his core premise. Time is an energy capable of carrying data.
That is monumental. If time carries data, the universe is like a giant hard drive.
A living database, potentially.
Yeah.
Every moment, every event encoded.
Yeah.
Accessible, perhaps, if you know how. The implications for history, memory, reality itself are just staggering.
And the potential, if you could control that energy.
Mind-boggling. Preventing disease, stopping aging, averting disasters, completely rewriting our relationship with reality.
The sources use that Dr. Strange analogy, right?
Yeah.
Reversing the eaten apple with the time stone.
Yeah, it's good visual. Manipulating the temporal energy of just the apple, returning it to its previous state. Endless food renewal, potentially. Limitless applications in medicine, restoration.
So, the obvious question, if this technology, or at least the principle, exists and is even being validated, why isn't it everywhere? Why aren't we pouring resources into this?
Well, the sources we consulted offer a very provocative, even conspiratorial theory for that. The idea that humanity is essentially living within a kind of slavery system.
A slavery system. What do they mean by that?
They suggest that certain powerful structures, economic, political, social, rely on keeping humanity disempowered and disconnected, focused on material survival and division.
Okay.
And a technology like Kozyrev's mirrors, or anything that proves our deep interconnection, awakened psychic or spiritual abilities, grants access to universal knowledge. That would be a direct threat to such a system.
Because it empowers individuals.
Yeah.
Fosters unity and expanded awareness.
Precisely. It would fundamentally destroy the system and undermine those who benefit from controlling information and limiting potential. So the theory goes, this kind of knowledge, this kind of technology is deliberately suppressed, kept inaccessible.
Because it's deemed too dangerous to the status quo, too liberating.
That's the core argument presented, that true freedom, true potential is actively withheld because it would dismantle the current power structures. It forces you to ask who benefits from things staying as they are.
It's a heavy thought. So let's recap this incredible journey. We started with strange events in Siberia energy balls, supercharged auroras, that palpable dread.
Then went back to Nikolai Kozyrev himself. Genius mind forged in the Gulag, challenging our most basic ideas about time.
His theories. Time as energy, the ether, torsion fields, leading to the Kozyrev mirrors.
And the KGB-backed Dixontown experiments. The Day of Terror, the ancient Sumerian symbols appearing to subjects.
Visions of other beings, historical events, the witnessed UFOs that matched the artist's drawings, the global telepathy boosted by solar storms.
It's an astonishing collection of phenomena, all documented.
Yeah.
A reality far stranger and more connected than we usually imagine.
And Dr. Kaznashev's chilling warning lingers about others in the metaphysical universe and our shallow understanding, the immense, maybe suppressed potential of time energy.
While this specific mirror tech isn't something you can just order online, the underlying principle that time is more than a clock, that consciousness is connected to the cosmos, that's something anyone can explore.
Absolutely. Kozyrev's legacy isn't just about mirrors, it's about pushing boundaries, questioning assumptions, seeking deeper truths even in isolation.
It encourages us all to look beyond the surface, beyond what mainstream narratives tell us is possible. There's so much more to reality.
And perhaps the most fitting thought to leave you with comes from that timeless saying reflecting Kozyrev's own life. Maybe not everyone who seeks finds, but those who find are the ones who seek.
Keep seeking, keep questioning.
Exactly. Embark on your own journey of discovery. Thank you for joining us on this Depth Dive. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden currents of reality.